Hello, this is Anthony James DeLuise at Vitruvian Videos. What is above is so below. It is 11:53 a.m. in New York Central Time. Today I'm going to be speaking about the genesis of my life as I'm starting an audio journal called The Tarot Movie. And the journal is basically my diagnosis about life and the things that I examine and observe. And with my own soul telescope, I look further into the constellations of the characteristics, the persona, the anatomy of life in which I describe, in my opinion, what I feel. I was born May 21st, 1989 at Mount Vernon Hospital at 2:17 p.m. to my mother, Diane DeLuise. Grew up in Mount Vernon, New York with my brother Nicholas, my half-brother. We have two different fathers. I was born out of an affair, so my father wasn't around. My brother's father wasn't around. And my mom had many different boyfriends, and my home life was dysfunctional, but we functioned the best that we could. We were gods of improv. We improvised and created fun out of things that we, as much as possible, that we can do. Hung out with the neighborhood kids, played manhunt, and then we got older and we got into drugs and drinking and got into our own little problems here and there. And then I had this epiphany. I saw my friends and the people that I was around, and I didn't want to be a clone of people. I didn't want to just drink and smoke, and I wasn't really a big club person, and they would go out to clubs and party, and I just really didn't, that wasn't my sole urge to do things of that nature. So I was exiled from my friends because I had different beliefs. I would study astrology, I would study alchemy, and I would study hermetic science, and I would write poetry, and I've had these visions, and I felt like I was from, a spiritual place. Like I was able to see a world different from this. I was in between two worlds. I was the spiritual world and this world, and I felt like a modern day shaman where I was able to, people would come to me for advice, and I would be able to easily express the feelings that they were going through as if I was being an interpreter of their soul, and I was speaking for them to heal. And I would get these visions, and I felt like my life, I was orchestrating a miscellaneous world, and I was able to pick things from this world, and using the laws of attraction, I was able to bring it into life. So I grew up, and I wasn't really much good for school. I would get picked on at school. I was bullied a lot, and that gave me a lot of pent-up rage, and I ended up fighting back, and I ended up getting into a lot of fights, and I ended up not wanting to be in school, so I dropped out. I got to a certain age, and I had a lot of problems expressing myself to my family. They saw me in a dark place. I call it the dark ages of my life. In the dark ages of my life, I was trying to find myself, my identity, who I was. So I was homeless for a little bit, and then I decided to go to Job Corps, a place where you could get a trade and work and get your GED, and I went there and I did hotel and lodging. I had a really great teacher, Mr. Bailey, a very deep spiritual sense of a person, more religious, but he had another essence to him. And I would talk about things with him and music mostly. And while I was there, I was very to myself until I met my friend Nina Bruno and a lot of different people who were into Wicca. And then we created our circle of Wicca, and we would practice. A lot of different things happened there. Someone died. They had an aneurysm, and the kid blamed it on the school, and there was a giant riot. And this is the first time I've ever seen something like that. Just seeing the world at its most rawest form as far as emotion, and how things can get so out of control so quickly. And I guess I was really interested in knowing these experiences of the world where I wanted to be around things that needed to be fixed, knowing I couldn't fix that particular incident, but the people around me I could help and educate on a spiritual level that they can create the laws of attraction that were good for them. Because I sent out an energy, I wanted to meet like-minded people, and I met like-minded people, and I wanted to travel the world. And after being in Job Corps, I was presented with AmeriCorps. This is my gift from the universe, being able to travel places and help people. And I was going to be basically working to help nature programs, soup kitchens, Habitat for Humanity. And I went there and I started doing these projects. And, you know, I was lazy here and there because I was more there for like the spiritual aspect, and I got lazy, but then I got back onto it and I was helping people. I was doing the work that the place wanted me to do, and at the same time I was teaching people about spirituality. There was this chapel, and the chapel was unblessed and wasn't being used for meetings for the school. So I blessed it and made it my little spot to do tarot readings and Reiki, because I started studying tarot very much. While I was there, I met this girl who, at first I didn't like her at all. I thought she was really naive and just was out of her mind. And her name is Savannah, and she was from Boston. So we went on our projects, and we were, learning how to do our projects, and I was connecting with my crew, and there was this kid there who I would hang out with. His name was Joseph Masonberg, and he was a really awesome person, and I gave him his first piece of veal. He never ate veal before, and we talk about our girlfriends, because I just got out of a crazy relationship with this girl, and I was going in AmeriCorps, and he was saying just to be free and do what you have to do, and he was talking to me about his girlfriend, and we bonded through that, and we did our programs together, and I would talk about spiritual stuff again, and I started seeing spirits, and I started seeing a lot of different things, and I went to a tarot reader, and he told me that there was a big event coming up that was going to be really hard, and the event happened to be my friend Joe, my crew member, getting gunned down by a gang. We were stationed in New Orleans, and we were on Eagle Street in New Orleans, which was a very, very high area for crime and gang activity. And the rival gang, who thought he was a member of their rival gang, gunned him down, mistaken identity. After that, seeing someone who basically, they put their whole heart into coming into a program to give back to people. He had his ups and downs, and he had his moments where he was rebellious because he was a strong-minded person. But just the fact that he was there, and I used to watch him. We went to this old lady's house. We were helping put light bulbs in, compact fluorescent light bulbs. We were cutting down their carbon footprint, and that was one of our projects called Project Greenlight. We were doing it in New Orleans. Went to this lady's house, and this old lady reminded him of his grandmother, and he said he would come back and help her fix her computer. There was these kids that were there on the street that we lived on, that we were staying in, and they had their road where their basketball hoop was, and it was like broken and messed up, and he wanted to fix that and help them, and make sure they could play basketball. And he was all for the kids that come from hard places and hard lives, and he wanted to help them, just like me. And while I was in AmeriCorps, I was a wellness POC, and I did help people. I was the person to help people who were going through an emotional time there. And I was helping a lot of people who they would confide into me, they had, suicidal thoughts in life before, they would cut themselves, or they were depressed, and I understand because I've been there. I went through every similar things, so I really connected to people on that level. I always wanted to help people. I want to be a spiritual guide I'm a tarot reader. I got certified for Reiki healing. I write poetry. Everything that I do is about the aspect of helping people, being a spiritual counselor. I want my own shop one day that people could come to, and I could do tarot readings for them and do a spiritual reading and a soul map and guide them and give them catalyst for healing. So I would spontaneously travel to places for spiritual reasons and do a geomancy energy connection. I went to Sedona, Arizona to meditate the vortex energies. I hitchhiked to go there. I met this really cool dude named Frog, and ended up sleeping near the mountains for the night, and then hitchhiked back after I meditated on the mountain. Being in the vast radiance of nature and on a mountain and just learning from Earth school, not the conventional school, learning for the unconventional energy of life. And I have so many different stories of my life, and I just wanted to give a brief summary. I can't go into much detail, as it's just so much that I could explain and talk about. And I want to speak on having my journal, my audio journal, which was going to be whenever I feel like speaking about a topic and my diagnosis of certain things about life. It's going to be called the Tarot Movie. Thank you, everybody. This has been Anthony James DeLuise of Vitruvian Videos. What is above is so below.